pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone at home.
Hi, if you're all done throwing your phone on the ground, I'll sit next to you.
Always come over this side if you're getting crowded over there.
Yeah, look down there. You look lonely down there.
Oh, yeah. Lonely and lost.
Even though we got some rain today, I think that's what it was. It made everything wet out there. What happened? I haven't seen it for a while, so I'm not sure. But please, everyone at home, even though there are no restrictions as we speak, let's do our own restrictions and try to use as less water as we can. The grass is so far gone, you don't need to water that for a while. So just please cooperate and help and use as little water as possible. I have, oh, is there any public comment? Young lady, have done anything for us? No? Okay. I have the minutes of the August the 8th meeting. Have a motion to approve?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, June.
I have the minutes of the August the 15th special meeting. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Harry, thank you. I transferred $76,130 from the consolidated account to the accounts payable. Larger checks were $8,077 for diesel, O&R $3,579, legal fees $13,263, CHN Industrial for the skid steer. I guess that was a payment on the skid steer.
Yep, lease payment.
Is that up payment or does that pay for the whole thing?
No, that's one payment.
All payment. Okay. And that was $25,984. And emergency roof repair at the dog pound, $4,800. The reason we listed as emergency roof repair, we had to get it done very quickly, so we couldn't put it out, or we didn't have to put it out to bid as an emergency. For the liaison reports, we'll start out.
Coming to my way first.
You're right away.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. To start out, we had a meeting, a phone meeting the other day with the Community Choice Aggregate in Jewel. I don't know if you were going to bring it up, Bob, but I will.
No, yes.
But want me to go ahead with it?
Yeah.
So everybody knows, but the CCA is supposed to go online in November, and but with the current market volatility, environmental impacts on energy costs, you know, that's all your renewables, oil, et cetera, Joule, the company that is behind the CCA, cannot guarantee a reasonable rate or a competitive rate. So, and I kind of commend them for not flipping the switch on the program without a competitive energy rate to offer our community. So the program's going to be put on hold to April of 2023. And at that time, they're hoping that, you know, markets will change and they'll be able to offer a better rate for the energy for the CCA. Again, how the CCA works, again, we can opt in, opt out anytime we want. And if you look at the course of a year, usually the CCA rates perform better than the current rates that O&R offers you. The CCA rate is a flat rate, whereas O&R rates fluctuate. So some months they're less, Most months, they're more. So again, until they can come up with a solid bid, the program's going to on hold till late spring of next year.
Town and the village?
The village acts on its own, but they're on the same. It was a group call. I saw the mayor was also on that call, so they should. I know they have the same information, ship the same application. And that's pretty much anything else, MJ, or okay. A couple weeks ago, a group of citizens got together and put a petition together about getting water up at the Eagle Valley Cemetery. That petition motivated the supervisor to pull the cemetery committee back together, and they graciously formed quick.
Absolutely.
And they came together, and again, thank you to Stella Bailey, Tony Scicciarini, Ned Copold, Farabee, Ripa, and Dave Tonneson for agreeing to bring the committee back together and address the current things in question, again, about bringing water. The committee so far has decided that we're not going to put water up at Eagle Valley. There is no municipal water available up there. In the past, water had been provided and it wasn't used, and the water just became a biohazard filled with algae. Bottom line is the list of cons to providing water out there seem to far outweigh, the committee decided. It doesn't mean it can't be discussed further. I know Richie Sullivan's might have a comment regarding this situation. But again, right now it looks like we're not going to be providing water up there for, again, there's maintenance issues, time, infrastructure costs, the algae consideration if it's a tank, or buying and installing a pump for the one well which is not on town property. Again, for the small amount of watering, we're hoping that people, if you got to walk over to a pump to get water, just bring a couple of jugs of water with you from home. Now, what you're watering up there's other questions, and I'll let Rich talk on that if he wants.
No, you're
all right.
Take your thunder. You're the man, Joe.
Thanks. I'll let you deal with the sewer and water stuff. That's always a lot more confusing, right? The rules that are on the books here in the town hall and what's on a sign up at the cemetery seemingly they're not congruent. So the committee will they'll review everything, and we're going to try to get all the ducks in a row. So there's no more. We don't want people to be upset. Obviously, we just want them to understand. And again, a group of people came together. We don't want to say you motivated the committee to come back together, and the issue was not put under a rug. And we're happy to talk about it. Send out an email, look us up, whatever. We're happy to talk about it more.
If I can just interrupt you a second. It was a
Um,
very good meeting of the committee, and by that I mean everyone on the committee spoke. They all had something to say. They all put their opinion in, and the bottom line was, when they got done talking, I think there was one person that was hesitant, but all the rest of them basically suggested that there is no need for water up there.
No need, right. Okay, thank you. That's it. On the next note, I just, on the more just good society community notes, I want to again shout out to Ann Molina, Rich Fox, and the people at the center in Highland Falls. They recently held a luncheon for National Senior Citizen Appreciation Day down at Richie's Little Place. It was a great luncheon, and they honored members from our community and for their contributions to the community. It was Reverend Judy Ferguson, Denise Gibney, Kathy McCutcheon, Ann Taylor, and John Gunza were all honored for their years of service to the community. It was just a nice event. And again, I say, stop in and when the center's open, there's a lot of things going on that in our community. And speaking of honoring John Gunza, he recently displayed his collection of historical postcards at the center. And again, John's got these things going back to 1908, I think I saw the early ones. Again, these are the kind of things that are going on at the center. Just good community things, good place to be social. While I was there, I stumbled onto a meeting for a group called Connect. And it's a program. I just wanted to shout it out for people to know. It's for our grades 3 through 8, and it's a program between the AOG, the Associate of Graduates at West Point, and the Highland Falls Intermediate School, and it's just a program, after-school program, that's going to be doing a lot of great things for kids, involving things at West Point, science projects. There's a whole list. Sports, computer things, and it's a nice program that I'm glad to see that working with West Point and the Associate of Graduates, working with our community to help do better things with our children in the community. Just was happy to stumble on and be part of that program and meet Michael Hauser and Christine McDonald, who are work with the AOG, and they're behind the Connect thing. And on the last note, coming up at the center on Tuesday, August 30th from 4 to 5 p.m. Speaker, and Ty, help me out here. MSGT, I'm taking his Master Sergeant.
Yep.
Retired Master
Corps.
Sergeant George Kovach is going to be speaking, an engagement specialist with the program Access Supports for the Living. They're going to be meeting at the center to talk about what they can offer existing Town of Highlands Community Coalition and American Legion Auxiliary serving the veteran population. And that's coming up on Tuesday, August 30th at 4 p.m. One of the many things going on at the center. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, good evening, everyone, and good evening, everyone at home. Just to caveat on what my colleagues were saying, the Master Sergeant is actually a retired Marine, and his role is the Veterans Engagement Specialist. So his job is to get out in these communities and to assess what are the needs for veterans throughout his area of responsibility. And so that being said, we got some history of veterans here, and one of the big things that we celebrate here in the town of Highlands is Labor Day weekend, the memorial ceremony that happens at West Point. Previously, at Buffalo Soldier Field, a wreath was laid on a rock, and as of last year, that changed because the monument went up, and we know that the monument has the depiction of somebody that's near and dear to the town of Highlands, which is Sergeant Sanders Matthews. So this year, the 61st year of the celebration of the Buffalo Soldiers serving at West Point is going to happen, and it's a whole weekend of events. And so, just to name a few, we got bear with me here.
Want the flyer?
No, I got the flyer, but you don't have this one. I guarantee that. We got the Buffalo Soldiers Motorcycle Club of West Point. They are doing a few things, and one of which is specific to the town of Highlands. On Saturday, they are having a fish fry at Roe Park. And part of what they do here in the community is give out school supplies. So they don't just ride around on their motorcycles and fry fish. You know, they bring in these supplies. And last year when they brought home the supplies, I think the supervisor was there, they had a whole bunch of papers and backpacks, but unfortunately, there was no kids that showed up. So we hope this year that we can get the word out throughout the community that our children can take advantage of these brand new supplies that the Buffalo Soldiers Motorcycle Club brings in. And that's Saturday, September 3rd. They're going to do a Hills and Curves run, and then they're going to do that at 9 a.m. And then they're gonna come into the community, do the fish fry at Roe Park at 1 p.m. Highland Falls, New York. And anybody interested in the fish fry, they're looking for donations of $25 a person. I think it's all you can eat after that. And but trust me, they have a lot of supplies that they donate to this community, and I want to see a turnout this year that we show those folks that we appreciate that, and more importantly, that kids who need it can get it. Now to Joe DeWitt's point, the earlier comment about the flyer, we're talking about Sunday, the 4th, is what we're used to here in the town of Highlands. That's the main meat and potatoes. That's where the wreath laying ceremony happens over on Buffalo Soldier Field, starting from noon to 2 p.m. Wreath laying ceremony at the monument this year, noon to 2 p.m. And then afterwards, from 2:30 to 6 p.m. is the traditional memorial banquet at Ike Hall. And that's always going to be a good time, good food. They give out some plaques and stuff. In fact, this year, I've created an award to give out for the first time ever in the name of my great uncle, Sergeant First Class Leon Tatum, who used to live up on Schneider Avenue, who's buried now in West Point with his wife, Helen. It's going to give the Sergeant Leon Tatum Buffalo Soldier Leadership Award to a active duty member of West Point at that event. And then I think they'll have a band and some dancing and so forth. So that's all I got, Supervisor. And I yield the rest of my time to my colleague over here. To the right.
So, I'm gonna pull Pierre tonight. Mine's a little bit long. I beg for forgiveness in advance, all right? Zoning Board of Appeals, the last meeting I said they weren't gonna meet. That was their day for have submissions turned in. Right at the 11th hour, there was one turned in, which is to put a house on an empty lot up on Sweezy and West, and there will be a public hearing on that project next month, the third Wednesday, I believe September the 21st, 7 p.m. here. They've been meeting remotely for quite a while now. That is no longer allowable, so they will be meeting here. But I'm correct on that. That COVID stuff is now removed. They have to meet here and comply with the open meeting law. The planning board, I was unable to make that meeting. They met last Thursday, and on their agenda, they already had their public hearing, and I believe they closed it last month for 341 Main Street. That's Rick Minicozzi's church. Just want to reiterate, as everybody knows, that the parking that's going in at the church is to help to meet the need for Thayer's Spa, Hotel, or whatever that project is called, which always had 65 spaces and still does. It originally had 78 or 79 rooms. After COVID, economically, he felt the need to go to 100 rooms, and that's what they're acting on. So we're still 35 spots deficient, and the church parking is going to, I don't know if it's 17 spots, I'm not sure what it is. Eric does a great job. I don't want to do anything to get him upset. I just want to say that they had an interaction with the county by General Municipal Law 239. The county gets to review it, and under certain circumstances, the county will make comments where in order to override it, you have to have a supermajority vote. Just a little bit disappointed that they felt the need to act that heavily on Little Old Highland Falls, where I think we're in control of our destiny. Kind of without their help, I'll make that comment, but that's where it's at. It happened when I was on the planning board. We had one situation where it required a supermajority vote, you know. So I have the letter printed. I'm not going to read it because it's too small to read, and everybody gets the general idea of what I'm talking about anyway. Okay. Sewer. So last week, our highway superintendent, Pat, happened to come upon, in front of Bosch's, a manhole, which is part of the forest main coming out of the trailer park, and it has an automatic air vent on it. The air vent was leaking, the manhole was full of foam, sewer foam. So Tam came in last Wednesday. I didn't get a chance to talk to Jimmy about everything they did. They cleaned it out, and I believe that they jetted out a portion of it. I don't know how far down. And for just a moment, there was a little bit of ambivalence on my part because the trailer park paid to put it in. I wasn't sure if it was ours. I believe that it is. I couldn't prove that. It's not on their property. They installed it. I believe the town took it over. For just a moment, there was some ambivalence trying to figure that out, you know. Erica Affronti, our intern with her grandmother Ann Molina, came down to the sewer plant last Friday night. Joe happened to stop by. And part of her internship, she interviewed me on questions relating to the plant. Because Jimmy being part-time, it's hard for them to connect them when they can be there together. I think she's a little bit gun-shy of public speaking, but I told her at our next meeting in September, we'll stand alongside of her. I'd like her to make a little summary of what she did for us over the summer. Joe's pretty good at, supporting people that don't like public speaking, so we'll get her through it. But I'm planning on having her here for that, to give a total summary of everything.
Seems unfair to haze her at the end of her internship. Maybe we should have hazed her ahead of time.
I don't like public speaking, and here I am. But so the building department, Melanie is very kind and reads off most of the summaries at the village meetings where they talk about, how many. I already did that 2 meetings ago for or last meeting for the month of July. So I'm not going to read that off again. I have a bunch of things I could read here. Some of them are probably specific. Phil has had some interactions with people that have required the police. And subsequent to that, he has a nice calm demeanor where he'll meet with people to try and help them resolve something. He doesn't carry a gun. He's not a cop. We go out of our way. We have 2 full-time people in that office, and I tell them I want to be obliging to applicants coming in, and I think that they are. So I just would ask people to not treat him like dirt. If it was a cop, you wouldn't do that. I want people to not treat him like dirt. He's got a tough job. He's got a lot of things going on. He does have help from the outside if he needs it. And I think he's doing a good job, and I praised him for it along with Gabby. Down at the Patriot Garden, the well is dry and has been for the last month. Doris Lent is like the guardian of that garden and has been since 2005 when we built it. So through her, Gail Schmernick, who Vision has down there to weed and whatnot, and David Favor. David has a well where he brought on a trailer 4 or 5 barrels. He came back and forth, I'm going to guess, about 5 or 6 times. I left a submersible pump there so that Gail could water things. And it doesn't look that bad. I think they saved most of the bushes and whatnot. So I want to thank all of them for helping to keep that going. And that well down there has 1 gallon per minute recovery. It's only 100 feet from the leak. It's 424 feet down to where the pump is actually at, and the well itself is 750 feet down. So it's just a poor performing well. There is a sprinkler system there that Bill Utzel does a lot of maintenance on. It's dry, and Mrs. Lent asked me if we needed a consultant. I told her we just need rain. That's all there is to it. So it's off so it doesn't burn up, because our DPW can't change it. We have to bring in like Jimmy Conley or someone like that, The Citizens Environmental Advisory Committee. This is my best part of my summary tonight. On Sunday, yesterday, our wonderful member Mindy Kimball met with me at Brooks Lake for a 1-mile hike. Lee Steinmetz, Rod Wilson, John Willis and his wife Trish, Kathy Beach, new residents Rachel and husband Tom, whose last names I don't know, Beth Burns and myself walked around the lake. I showed them where the old tramway was from the Forest of Dean Mine, where the West Point water line goes through, which was put in 1907 that feeds Lusk, and where there used to be a beach in the 50s that was lifeguarded by a disciplinary principal I had in high school named Clem Doan. I'm sure you guys remember Clem Doan, okay? He told me he was a lifeguard there back in the 50s, so I'm going to take him at his word. Water. Working on the water budget, it's a little bit messed up. Kelly's going to be patient with me, helping me out with it. I have some ideas on where I want to go with water. They won't get too specific with here. But what I do want to talk about is I think I sent out an email to everybody on the water test that we have to do a couple times a year to do trihalomethanes, coliform, and an acid whose name I'm not going to try and pronounce right now because I have it in front of me and I'll be embarrassed by it. When we did that last year, there were numerous reports of dirty water in the village of Highland Falls, and the Village of Highland Falls at their meetings, on being kind, proclaimed that we didn't have a water tank contributing to this situation. Well, we do have a water tank. We did then, we do now. We're adding on to one, but it's not there yet. So I'm going to read the letter that we got last year when we got in a little bit of trouble with them. Dear Pat, this letter is to request that when the town must open a hydrant for any reason, testing, flushing, please notify me 24 hours in advance. Unfortunately, yesterday the village received multiple complaints in Village Hall and police dispatch of brown water. So that was from their water operator, Jack Sibley, who I have the utmost respect for. On August the 4th, I looked at Ion Water and I saw we had a tremendous spike, and I didn't know why. By the way, I wasn't copied on that letter last year, so I didn't get it. Pat sent me a copy of it, but I wasn't copied on it. So we had a spike, and I called Pat like a week later. I said, what happened that day? And he said, we performed this test. So Gary Phillips, who's very good up there in the village, reported it was flushing hydrants. It wasn't flushing hydrants. It was for this test that we do every year. We cumulatively used 170,000 gallons for that day. And on Facebook or wherever, there are a lot of people reporting about brown water. They do that every day. I saw 2 days ago they were reporting about brown water. So, I'm not going to offer apology. I'm going to say that we were asked to notify the operator 24 hours in advance. I don't think that was done. I think they want to take it a step further and have it where we notify them a week ahead of time so it can be in the newspaper and all that. Let's just do that, okay? Let's just do that from now on to keep everybody happy. And don't mean to be facetious, they're still going to have brown water anyway. So, that's that. And just quickly, Joe touched upon the cemetery. I did have someone come to my house last week with a petition and a bunch of petitions. It claimed to be 70 of them. There were 35 I actually counted inside. And so I know the cemetery committee met. We have a little bit of work to do because on that sign at the cemetery, there's number 4. I think it says you can go 12 inches in front of the headstone, dig out the sod and plant flowers. That is contrary to the rules that are in town hall. And on this thing that I received, it was claimed that the rules were not found in town hall. June and Leslie both told me that they were here then, they're here now. So we got to straighten some things out between that sign and what's in that pamphlet. And on that sign up there at the very bottom, it says no shepherd poles are allowed. I drove up through there the other day, there were 5 shepherd poles, just if anybody cares. But it's on that sign. So we have some cleaning up to do. As far as the water goes, if someday people decide that's the route they're gonna go, I'll help out with the logistics. Other than that, I'm just a little old innocent shoeshine boy here, just doing what I'm told. So that's it.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Can I ask one question, Richie? What were you talking about, 170,000 gallons?
For that day, because this test requires 40 or 50,000 gallons when they do it. So it goes over. And by the way, I'm not going to mention what Gary mentioned, their water use is average per day. We've been using 90,000 gallons a day. That thing I sent out last month projecting what we're going to use built out comes out to about 138,000 gallons. So we project using that much more in the future. We're not going to hit the 150,000. That's not an engineering level review, but you can trust me, I did a pretty good amount of research on that. So we're not supposed to go over 150 a day for the test. So once in a while that happens. And I think the test is 2 times a year, and they flush hydrants 2 times a year. So 4 times a year we'll be generating dirty water, and we'll use more water than we normally would because of the test or the hydrant flushing.
And that, I think it came up in a village meeting by a citizen about, is that test absolutely necessary in a period when we're, looking at drought situations? I mean, what do you tell people? Like, what's the justification of that test? I mean, is it you got to do it even if we're in a drought
A
situation?
little bit lame here, as per the Department of
I
Health.
didn't mean to put you on the spot.
Communicating, no, I don't mind. Communicating with our water superintendent, it's supposed to be done at certain dates, semi-annually and whatnot. Why that date was chosen, I don't know. I'm not upset. I wasn't notified. I would like to be notified in the future. And like, anybody in the village board, I've emailed them quite a few times. I'm gonna send them my cell phone number. Anybody can call me anytime they want to, instead of going around the world for all this stuff, and we'll just rectify it immediately. But we're not gonna let that happen again. People will know a week in advance before we're gonna flush hydrants or do these tests from now on.
Thanks.
Okay, only thing I think maybe we missed, and I don't have the date or the email, Aaron and the soccer up at West Point.
You got a copy?
I have it.
I got it too. Save the date. Friday, October 14th at 6 p.m. The Town of Highlands Soccer Night at West Point, partnering with Army West Point Soccer to bring you the soccer event. The night includes pregame field access with Army West Point players and for our 4 and 5-year-old division athletes, player meet and greet, autograph session, postgame. This is a free family event. They're hoping to see everybody there. For more information, reach out to Aaron at afalk, A-F-A-L-K, at highlands-newyork.gov. And again, that's Friday, October 14th at 6 p.m. Thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah, we'll bring that up a few more times between
Yeah, no,
now and
yeah.
then. Okay, and I don't want to sound like a broken record, but I appreciate the reports that you guys give out. I mean, and forget about me appreciating it. The general public really has to listen up and learn an awful lot from what you guys have to say.
Thanks.
Now, our attorney is going to earn his pound of salt, and he's going to tell us all about certiorari's, not just the resolution we have to authorize settlement of one, but kind of a general idea of what the certiorari's are and what they do and who.
Sure. Tax certiorari is a fancy word for a challenge of your real property tax assessments. And in New York State, the tax calendar is very specific as to when you may bring challenges, how you bring challenges. Initially, Gene, your assessor prepares a roll. If people are unhappy with the assessed value on that roll, they may bring a challenge to the Board of Assessment Review. That's one of the boards in town. You all make the appointments to that board, and the Board of Assessment Review can either change the assessment for the final roll, or they can deny, or they can ask for more information. If someone is dissatisfied with the Board of Assessment Review determination, they're able to bring either a tax certiorari, you have one before you tonight for settlement, or a small claims. If it's a residential piece of property, they can use a more streamlined process. Tax certs are actual litigation. They're just like any other type of litigation in the New York State court system, but they are limited year by year. So you are only challenging 1 year of your assessment. You can't wake up in 2022 and say, my assessment in 1990 was unfair, and it was unfair every year after that, right? There's a calendar that makes you follow a defined time frame as to when you can challenge. Typically, your challenge is only good for 1 year. People may stack these cases together, and so sometimes, and in this case, we're dealing with the 2021 roll and the 2022 roll. This particular case is one owner of 3 different properties, 467 Main, 481 Main in the village, and 8 Drew Avenue. They all had different types of, one was the Penn Fed building, one was a restaurant and sort of rooming house, and one is a 2-family home. So the challenge is different to each, what the owner has to prove, how we negotiate what is an appropriate value of those different types of properties is a little different. Frequently in the commercial contest, it's income and expense, and that helps you determine the value of a property. Working closely with the assessor's office, occasionally with the board members, and always with the school district, who has their own counsel, Jacobowitz and Gubitz, but we work closely together on these matters. We've negotiated a settlement of this particular matter for each of the 3 parcels. For the 2021 year, there's an approximate 20% reduction on 2 of the properties and an approximate 9% reduction on 8 Drew Avenue, the 2-family home. 8 Drew is the only one that would also have a reduction in 2022. As you know, the other properties were raised and are no longer there, so the assessment becomes about vacant property, so it's a different type of challenge. So before you, you have a resolution to authorize settlement of proceedings under Article 7 of the Real Property Tax Law, Highland Falls Main Street Real Estate, Inc. For section block and lot, it lists the 3 section block and lots for the tax years 2021 and 2022. This would authorize that settlement. It would then go before the judge in accordance with the consent judgment attached, and the approximate tax refund liability, right, because these taxes were paid by the taxpayer in 2021. The approximate refund liability of the town's portion, not the school district, not the county, would be about $1,500. So if you have questions, go ahead. Otherwise, if you are comfortable, you could authorize the resolution.
Good.
Questions? I'll ask for a motion to move the resolution to authorize settlement of the proceeding under Article 7 of the Real Property Tax Law, Highland Falls Main Street Real Estate Incorporated, and I'm not going to read the numbers for tax years 21 and 22.
Motion.
Oh, go ahead. Time moves. I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Sullivan?
Aye.
Councilmember King?
Aye.
Councilmember DeWitt?
Aye.
And Supervisor Lacy?
Aye. Justin, thank you for a very good explanation.
Certainly, happy to do so.
And that's more to my point that folks at home, if they would just watch our 1-hour meeting or our half-hour meeting, you learn a lot. I have a letter that I'll read off here because it's kind of a nice letter, and I think Pat wrote this letter from his heart. Dear Honorable Supervisor Livesey and Town Board members, with great regret, I want to inform you that I am resigning my position of Superintendent of Highways effective September the 15th, 2022, and I would request that you kindly accept this as my official notice of resignation. I would like to thank you all from the bottom of my heart for giving me the love, support, and opportunity to learn new things, grow as a person, and as a superintendent. The last 9 years have proven to be some of the best years of my life. I have worked with some great department heads and town employees. I have developed some friends and family within. I also want to inform the board of my opinion of the Highway Sanitation Department. Though some ups and downs we might have had the town of Highlands as its best employees in the business. This department has made it through the COVID pandemic without having to shut down at all. Rain, snow, sleet, hail, 100-degree weather, 0-degree weather, nothing matters. Anything thrown at these employees, they fight through it and somehow they get the job done. They all work hard and they go the extra distance. My office staff has brought us into the 21st century with a lot of things that we can't seem to slow her down. The praises on the phone calls received by her and the way she responds to residents is outstanding. I could not have done this job without every one of them. In closing, I'll leave you with this. Life is not lived with intentions, but action. The only thing a person can really ever do is to keep moving forward. Take that big leap forward without hesitation, without once looking back. Simply forget the past and forge through the future. Please keep our highway department moving into the future with open minds, new ideas, positive people, and responsible funding. If I can help you with anything during this transition period, feel free to get in touch with me. Pat Patterson, best regards. I asked for a motion to accept the resignation.
Also move.
Second?
Any comment?
Yeah, I just want to say that, certainly disappointed to hear this. I know it's probably a good reason that he's going to move on to bigger and better things, but I think he meant a lot to this community for various reasons, come from here. And I think he put a lot of hard work into building a good team. And then, so I appreciate his service. And then I look forward to the transition being smooth to whoever is selected to be his predecessor, his replacement.
So, everybody knows the speech I'm going to give. After having worked for 108 contractors in 38 years and being fodder most of the time, I do have a heart. I'm hard on the people that I'm liaison to, but I do have a heart, as I do with Philip and with Pat, with the water. And sometimes at budget time, we had some pretty rough meetings when it talked about cemetery cutting, whether going private or whatnot. He puts his heart into it. He goes out of his way to help with projects, and I wish him the very best wherever he's going to, because he did a good job for us here.
Thank you.
Well, it's hard to follow up you two after that, but I'm not going to have the pleasure of dealing with Pat during budget time. But just Pat and Tiffany together, and Pat especially, took me under his wing to show me the ropes as the assigned liaison to the highway department. Just very patient with, again, showing me the ropes. Never short of taking the time to explain, as you two or three have been, and 4 or 5. And I've definitely have solidified a friendship with Pat too over the short time that I had the unbelievable pleasure of working with him. And I called him every day for 2 weeks, give or take a day, but to say you're not leaving, right? And unfortunately, though, he is, and I'm going to very much miss him, and our little breakfast meetings and everything that goes along with it. He's a good man, and I wish him the best of luck, and I hope the community that he goes to appreciates him as much as we did around here. As like I said, good, bad, and everything, dedicated, and just a damn good guy. And cheers to Pat. And I'm sure I'll wish I'd said 5 more things after this, but thanks, Pat. Thank you for everything.
You had to follow those 2. I got to follow you 3. So I'm going to be very short on what I have to say about Pat. I'm part of the town board. I was town supervisor when we hired Pat. I do not regret 1 minute of hiring him back. I do not regret it, hiring Pat Patterson as the highway superintendent. I also was part of the town board that hired his secretary, and I also do not regret hiring his secretary. So all the best to Pat. I wish him the best of luck where he's going. I don't think he needs luck. I think he'll do a great job wherever it is that he's going to go and whatever it is he's going to do. That's all I have.
Hey, we're Pat. See you later.
Did we vote?
Oh, we'll
What?
get there. Oh, yeah, I think, oh, yeah.
Made motions. Did we actually vote?
No, we didn't.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Second, that would just be the.
Usually Phil tells me that.
Okay.
Okay, we have a second. All in favor?
All in favor, please.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Nobody.
Aye.
Okay. Just a little bit out of order because it just happened that I got this tonight. I have a resignation effective August the 27th, 2022. That'll be my last scheduled shift here for the month of August in the Town of Highlands Police Department. I'm thankful for the opportunity to serve on the police force. I wish you all the best. In the remaining period, let me know if you'll require my assistance ensuring a smooth transition. Officer Kyle Conklin. Do you need this, Kelly? Ask for a motion to accept the resignation?
Motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you. I would like to propose a interview for the next highway superintendent. I'd like Kelly to get it on our website that we're hiring, and where they can get the application, which is also on our website. June, would you contact that lady next to you and get it in our newspaper? That we're looking for a highway superintendent.
That's official.
I don't know if we need to put the salary.
No, I don't believe you need to post the salary, right? I mean, the budget and those notices gave the prior year salary, so people could be aware of what the range was, but for the new hire, no.
Okay. So you're going to take your part, and June already did her part. I say, you're going to do your part, and June already did her part. Yeah. So applications, again, are online. So as I was saying, we're going to interview on, at 6 o'clock on 12th of September. Now, even though it's a meeting night, we will not necessarily make a decision that night. Okay.
That's civil service job.
Sorry, what?
That's civil service job.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's civil service requirements about the position.
I suppose the requirements are something like for the chief, he has to have a driver's license. Right, chief?
Why need a driver's license?
Yeah, by the way, okay.
Jesus.
Do you have anything for us tonight? I am going to bring up the letter. Maybe you want to follow up on this letter. As you noticed, at many of our meetings, we're getting resignations from police officers, town police officers. And these resignations are not some officers that are disgruntled and they're getting out of here or what have you. It's nothing like that whatsoever. We've got good police officers that are moving up. They're moving to a permanent job, a full-time job, a better job, and you can't blame them whatsoever. There are not a lot of qualified police officers out there that are looking for part-time jobs. I think the academy, correct me if I'm wrong, had like 400 members going through the academy. And I heard these statistics, so it's either Rockland or Orange County, but I'm not sure which, figuring only half of them will graduate. And then you've got whole county that's grabbing these 200 people. So there are not a lot of officers, there are not a lot of part-time officers that want to work. And sometimes when I look at what police officers have to go through nowadays, I think if I was a retired part-time officer, I don't know if I would want to work either. It's just really bad what they're going through. And so anyway, recently, I'm not sure if it was Chief Perry or you that contacted I'm getting ahead of myself. I think you contacted the Chief of Police in Highland Falls and suggested that there are some open shifts that we would need emergency coverage for if the situation come about. So in other words, we'll just say the midnight shift, we have nobody on. We have an emergency. We're asking the village police to cover our emergency, not to patrol our town, not to do anything along that line, just to cover any emergency they may be called on. Apparently, through this letter, the mayor is not happy with that. Recently, it has come to my attention that the village police department has been covering shifts in Fort Montgomery. That's an exaggeration. Although some might think this is a neighborly thing to do, there are some very real concerns: jurisdictional, general liability, and workers' compensation. I'm reaching out to see if the town would be interested in contracting police services with the Village of Highland Falls. We could then address the above listed concerns as well as any other monetary commitment. If you or the town board have an interest in discussing this in more depth, please contact me to set up a meeting. The public health and safety of all our residents and police departments is, I'm sure, a priority for both boards. Well, since receiving this letter, Chief Basile contacted the state police, and the state police are more than willing to cooperate on these holes in our shifts, and they have done that. Now, Chief, do you have anything more to say about this?
Explains that the state police, are willing to cover the vacancies that we have in our schedule at this time until we are able to bring our staffing back up to adequate numbers.
Town board, do we have any questions?
I just will make the comment. It's going to sound like a broken record. So everybody knows my older brother, Mick Cahill, Captain Cahill. He was actually inspector for a while. Back in 1996, Gary Lent, when he was a judge, called a town meeting at the then empty Fort Montgomery Elementary School, and it was to court the state police to come here. There was some local resistance in the community because they won't compete. They'll come, but they make it clear that they won't compete. As I had communications with Richard Mazzoni over in Monroe like 3 or 4 years ago about the empty school on Mountain Avenue they were interested in. They have helicopters, they have boats, they have SWAT teams. If your school has a situation, 293, which is way out yonder way, their stations down on the bottom of the hill. If you provide a building for them, they will pay you rent and come to your community. They're not going to write a ticket for your grass being too high, but they'll kind of provide blanket coverage, which I have wanted for like 30 years. And then I tried again when Inga was supervisor to spearhead that, when I think it was Nevins was in charge. So I'm very pleased to hear that. The village police are there, and if we needed to have a mutual agreement, I would have no resistance. But I'm a huge fan of the state police because of what they can provide, and I'm very pleased to hear that they're coming here when we can't cover a shift.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I think that the fact that we finally got, it appears to me, a functioning relationship between the two forces where they seem to be teammates of one another. I wouldn't be opposed to a meeting with the mayor to find out what does he know that we don't know. What is he talking about? That their police have to cover and patrol the roads of Fort Montgomery. I mean, that's the first I'm hearing of this. I'm the liaison. I'm out there quite a bit. I don't see Highland Falls police out there in Fort Montgomery. I mean, unless I just missed it. So I'm just curious to know where that's coming from.
Well, actually, coming into to the meeting tonight, there was a Highland Falls police car, lights on, and a town police car, lights on. And they both had to stop there. So I'm not sure. It happened to be in front of Eamon Fallon's house up there. Mm-hmm. I don't know what it was about, but it looked like they were cooperating pretty well with each other.
Yeah.
I would not be at all resistant to sitting down, because I can understand if we don't have a shift covered continually for weeks and months on end, it's not unreasonable, just like what happened with the ambulance corps in Cornwall. New Windsor was covering. Finally, they took them over. And they did that with us down here. They said, we can't cover you that often. So I can understand that. If they had $200,000 it would cost to provide 2 officers full-time around the clock, I don't know. That's something we can entertain. I still want the state police in our community. I won't change on that one. That's just my statement, so.
Yeah, I think the chief had a solution all along, so that's what I'm saying. I don't see the major issue here. We've already been at it. I mean, it's not like a news flash that we have shortages. So when chief took over, he already had a game plan. So this thing about they're covering our, I mean, I'd like to hear more about it to see what the specifics are.
Okay, moving right along. There are 3 items that the Highway Department would like to declare as surplus. One is Police Car 110, which is a white Chevy Impala with a 3.9-liter automatic engine. Any questions on that?
That was Frank's old car, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Pat said he was gonna take it out of service the day after he retired. I guess he wasn't kidding.
Okay. We have an 8-foot ice away salt spreader. And there's no identifying numbers on the salt spreader. And there's a 1999 dog van, GMC Safari, rear-wheel drive. He wants to put that under surplus. So, what do you think, board? Got a motion to
Motion.
add these
Second.
things to surplus?
Yeah, no.
All in favor?
Aye.
So carried.
Aye.
Cemetery Committee, we already talked about. Community Choice Aggregation Program, we talked about. And Green Spot Auto Charging Station, I don't know anything new other than it's still a go. I've seen the plans, I see where they want to put it. When it'll happen, I don't know. They haven't shared that with us. But you can't beat the deal with that. They're going to put these things in. We don't have to do anything. We don't have to talk to Andrew Rockland. We don't have to dig the hole. We're just, all we do is maybe collect a few pennies when people charge their car.
Yeah.
It's a great deal. It's a great deal.
I promised before not to steal Joe's thunder, but like the community choice aggregation started when the committee started back in 2019. It was a lot of work. I just don't want anybody in the public to think in any way, shape, or form that this was a failure. It was designed to do this. In other words, you're in automatically. And if they can't get a rate that's going to be a flat line rate that's good for a couple of years, they're not going to do it. So everybody was protected as it was designed to be. And we'll give it another shot in a couple of months. So I'm not unpleased. I wish it could have worked now, but I'm not unpleased. We'll try it again.
And just to reiterate what you said, I kind of give them credit for the responsibility of not flipping the switch on the program when they couldn't offer a better rate. So, I mean, I think they're operating, properly and all in good faith. So, again, this is not a negative. It's just a
Costing a lot of people a lot of money for all the utilities. We're giving it our best shot to make their lives better. So, we'll be at it again.
Kelly, do you have anything?
No.
Oh,
Young lady, you have
Well,
anything?
Whether you're here.
You're just making sure this young man
Is
behaves.
that at work? She didn't believe I was going to work.
Yeah.
I forgot to
Yeah.
mention, when we did the Brooks hike yesterday, I found there was an animal there that I've never seen before. So we're going around, and there is the press in the woods waiting to take pictures of us when we got there. I want to thank Mary Jane for showing up. Thank you.
Wow.
I thought you were gonna, you saw my mule deer.
oh, that's
In
awesome.
my backyard, there was a mule deer.
That's the animal.
I say,
I've just recently lost 20 pounds. I got more to go.
Very nice.
Thank you so much, Mary Jane.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
So carried, thank you.